Alright everybody, what's up? So, my good buddy hit me up. He's like, hey, you should start doing more videos about this stuff. A lot of you know that I have multiple other channels that I'm plugging in on, but because of what we got going on right now, those have kind of been halted. However, I've started this one. I'm starting this one, coffee, which I'm not super hip to, but whatever. I guess it's a pretty good brand. I'm not gonna really go too much into it. My buddy, he said I could share. So we're giving it a shot. It could turn into kombucha or whatever. I don't know. We call it caffeination, Nation, whatever. So we call it Caffeine and Conspiracies. There we go. It's probably what it's gonna end up being. This is my first video, so we'll see if I keep it. So, oh, yeah. Like I said, I'm not a big coffee person, but here's to nothing. So we call it Caffeine and Conspiracies. Alright, so here's the thing. I got a cue card. Boom. I've not really like rehearsed at all. I have some things I want to cover. They're not in any sort of specific order, but there's a lot of stuff. I've been a conspiracy theorist for a long time, since I was like 8, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10. Probably around that age. Since so the point is, where I'm going with this is I'm going to just share some insight, and this is not about me pushing a political agenda, but rather the agenda of questioning things. And just to point out, conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist was designed by the CIA. Boom. Like if somebody disagrees, you go look it up, find out. You know, it's to discredit and to stop and halt free thinking, to question the puppeteers. So, premise also, I'm a Christian. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Bill of Rights. I believe in those founding principles, Judeo-Christian values of our country. And I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm not here to do that at all. I believe everyone has the freedom to think what they want and to say what they want. That's the beauty of being in a country like we are in, the United States of America. So I'm just going to talk about a couple things. Let's see. So, where to start? So, some of y'all have seen The Matrix. I'm sure most people have seen The Matrix. And watching it again, especially recently, it's very interesting to see the parallels between what we're seeing. Like, this fabric of false narrative and falsehood just crumbling apart. So I really believe that what we're going to see here soon, if not, it's the process is already occurring, is this massive cognitive dissonance where people are fighting the truth. You stand here, you're conditioned, we're conditioned to think that the mainstream media is telling the truth for a long time. We've all been conditioned this, and most of us grow out of it, and we all have our own paths, and some people, it's going to take longer. But what I've noticed is, if you watch, again, not a political agenda, but a truthful agenda, just based on the truth, you see the live briefings, you see what the mainstream media pushes. It's like a massive flip. And you know, if you don't accept that, that's fine, but it's what I've seen, it's what I've noticed. There's a lot of lies that are being told by the mainstream media, and I know some people on here you're hip to it. You know what I'm talking about. So seeing the mainstream media and seeing the Matrix, that the wool that's been pulled over our eyes, it's quite interesting. I think two perspectives for me I take away from the Matrix in real time. One, the truth is being lifted. There's a battle going on here that we don't see. There's something going on here. And again, if you're not paying attention, this is gonna sound wacky. You're not gonna get it. But if you start to pay attention and just like, here's our bias, and you just step just outside that bias. It's really, really difficult to do. I'm not saying this should be easy. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, right? Because we've developed these subconscious programmings. It's very difficult to change subconscious programming, especially the older you are. You know, you sit pretty still and firm in what you believe until someone questions you. Cognitive dissonance again. We want to believe what we want to believe, and we want to believe that we're right. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that we all have our opinions. I'm saying that there are facts, and then you have opinions. And I'm saying that it's very challenging to change. You know, to admit that you're wrong. It's beautiful to see, and this is one point. Beautiful to see Democrats. Now there are a few that I've seen that are like siding with Trump. There are Democrats that aren't necessarily siding necessarily, but there are Democrats that are starting to see, whether they've been blinded to it for a long time, the truth that's coming out within the party. And there's corruption on both sides of the aisle. I'm not a big fan of Bush Sr. or Jr. War profiteering, come on. I mean, it's a lot's coming up. And this is just, my opinion, a little bit of my opinion, but also quite a bit of fact. And I can provide these links. I'm going to see if I can list these links out in the description so people can go look on their own and decide for yourself. So I just want to talk about The Matrix, man. Like, I would encourage you to go revisit it. Like, you're like, and so that's one aspect, is the actual, like, human nature, what we can see. And you have the unseen. If you don't believe in God or the devil, if you don't believe in the spiritual realm, if you don't believe in multiple dimensions, it's hard to grasp this. And again, this is what we all believe. We have our beliefs, and I'm cool with that. But I believe in a higher power. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe that there are evil workings in the world, that God wins. That's what I believe. But I also believe that we should shine a light on the darkness. We should not let it hide. We should shine a light. And knowing that it's not human, this whole thing, it's not human. It's beyond human. This spiritual battle, it's that other variation of the reference to the Matrix. If you look at what I think there's merit in Neil deGrasse, and there's merit in Elon Musk's views in quantum physics and quantum mechanics and quantum reality. I think there's merit in that. And then you look at what they talk about when they talk about the Matrix. It's just a reference to what we perceive to be truthful based on our conditioning, as well as the realm outside of just being a human being. So The Matrix is very interesting. So I would encourage you to go check that out again. That's just a beautiful thing. I think there's a lot of parallels between the film The Matrix conceptually and what's displayed, as well as what's actually happening and what's been happening for a long time in our world as humans, and then beyond the realm of being a human being. So that was just one note. Also 9/11. I'm a patriot. I serve my country. My term was different than what I wanted it to be, but I'm grateful that I served. I'm grateful for that path, and I'm working on getting into a couple other things. Just 9/11, a lot of us were conditioned to believe that it went down the way it was said. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, he's a nut. Remember, conspiracy theorist was designed by the CIA. That term alone was designed to stop open and free thinking. I'm patriotic. I believe in our country. I believe in the United States of America. I believe in each country individually, not globalistically, but individually, mimicking, if they want, the rights and freedoms that we have on paper, but were given by God. Not by government, but by God, and then governed to protect against a tyrannical government, if that makes sense. So 9/11, just came out, a 4-year report, a 4-year deep investigation, 4-year, I think, that it didn't happen the way they said it happened. Report after report, engineer, physicist, shut up and shut down, right? If you know what neurolinguistic programming is, go check out neurolinguistic programming in specific reports, or live reportings. Like, there's a reporter and a physicist, an engineer, a chemist, and they're talking about other things, but like 9/11, there's one incident, and I look for it if people need me to, but it's on YouTube. NLP, neurolinguistic programming. Reporters design questions to discredit the expert that they brought in. It's mind-blowing, guys. It's mind-blowing. And when you start to look at NLP, like Tony Robbins is a master practitioner. It's a deep world that's kind of gone unseen for a long time. Take a sip of coffee real quick, because coffee, right? Caffeine. So, if you look at the reporting, the NLP that reporters use is mind-blowing to see how much they get away with. And the experts in physics, or the expert in engineering, or biological, whatever it is, structural engineering, architectural engineering, like, these guys are experts in their field, and they get their rug ripped out from underneath them because they don't know what NLP is, and the reporter's using NLP. And the viewer doesn't know. So 9/11 is one of those things where it's, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, and the reports that have come out, it did not happen at all close to what the narrative, or what the push was. First of all, we invaded the wrong country. Yeah. Why? It's no secret. If Osama bin Laden was Saudi, why did we go into a different country? Or if we knew who was hiding in one country, why did we go into another country? Come on, question mark, y'all, question mark. So that's one, and then you look at, you look at, like, Obama even said, and you could take it or leave it within this parameter of context, within this, it doesn't matter. The words are very simple. We funded ISIS, which was years later after 9/11, but the point is, there's count. Proof. Bush, he's no better. They're all, right, this establishment. So if you look at that, Bush, you look at Clinton, you look at Bush Sr. way before, right? You look at, Obama, like it's just, whoa. The kind of crimes that have been committed. And again, I'm a patriot, but I believe in the truth. I think there's this thing where if you're a patriot, you should feel like you can't question the government. No. A true patriot stands for truth against tyranny. And so this is just some things I've thought about. 9/11, the report came out, said it didn't happen the way they said it happened officially. I don't know where it hasn't been pushed. The mainstream media hasn't picked it up. It happened just weeks ago. And then I looked for it, and I'm like, where'd it go? Because I read the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing. I read the basis of it. I didn't read the whole report because that would take a lot of time, and I'm not for that. Reading a lot, like 400 pages worth of material or whatever it was. Point is, the report came out, the mainstream media didn't pick it up. Why? We could say that's because of the coronavirus coverage. Yeah. But it's a pretty important report, I would say. Second thing is, you can think for yourself on that. I believe in our duty. I still owe my oath, but I believe in truth. I believe in the Constitution. I think that there were some crimes that were committed that people are going to be reckoned for. So I want to talk about shadow banning. Shadow banning. What is shadow banning? I didn't really know what it was too much, and then I started realizing, like, we're conditioned, again, this is the mainstream media, we're conditioned to think that shadow banning is just a hoax, right? It's like, wow. And then you start looking. If you're a conservative, or a Republican, or a constitutionalist, or whatever, if you're not left, then, and you start to get attention, but you're not a star yet, and you're not you haven't hit a stardom type peak, your voice will be silenced. And I was like, well, I don't really know about that, but just recently I posted some things that I'm not like super like hitting the politics of it, but my stuff is not getting as much attention. And you'd be like, well, whatever. But when you look at posts that are like X number and it's 10% of that, you can't blame it on, maybe I just posted the wrong time of day. Because I know marketing. Maybe you just posted the wrong time of day. That one happens multiple times. And the Facebook's coming out now, just recently. Facebook just said that they're going to start steering, is the term they use, steering people away from misinformation about the coronavirus. That's an infringement on the First Amendment. People can say whatever they want. You're gonna steer other people away, even if they're like friends or in contact. You mean to tell me that if you have 5,000 contacts on Facebook and you post something, but it's not who decides what's misinformation or not? Why? Who's to say what is and what isn't? Right? Until the truth fully surfaces and it's acknowledged by, unfortunately the mainstream. Who's to say what's misinformation or not? So when you shield that and you stop that, you're infringing. It's like you trying to speak or you trying to film, and a police officer that doesn't understand the First Amendment come up, stand right in front of you when you're trying to film from a public awning. Talk about the Constitution, y'all. Talk about purposeful silencing. Now, let's talk briefly about the Operation Paperclip and Operation Mockingbird. Operation Paperclip, for those who don't know, there's a great show. It's called Hunters, and it's about Al Pacino's one of the lead characters, and it's about it's a phenomenal show, and it's a lot to it. It's about this group of Jews that are hiding in America, not hiding necessarily, but they're covert. They're operators. So they're hiding what their real intentions are as they hunt down Nazis, and it's referencing Paperclip, Operation Paperclip. Years ago, after World War II, their numbers are skewed, but there were a lot of Nazis, whether they were scientists or not, whether they were engineers or not, that were recruited and brought in to work in multiple capacities. What? And we did it on the premise of science and future, stepping into the future with science. And it was hidden for years, and then it just started boiling up to the surface. It hasn't been covered a lot. Operation Paperclip, go check that out. Mind-blowing that it happened in the first place. I'm all for science and engineering, but whoa, war crimes left and right, and we bring them in, like, it's mind-boggling. So, and then Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird was the CIA's involvement, and has been the CIA's involvement in the film industry and in media. Yeah, the CIA telling the media and the film industry what to say and how to say it. Whether it's 100% of a script, or whether it's 80% with some creative writing behind it. It is crazy, and it's not hidden. Just hasn't been covered a lot, or well, for that matter. If you look at how reporters report the information, it's almost completely identical in many cases. You got this layout, right? They're owned by 5 companies. All like the majority of mainstream media is owned by 5 companies. 5. It used to be 6, now it's 5. CBS and Viacom. 5. So you have to and we're conditioned to believe that's where the truth is coming from. It's the matrix. It's the wool over the eyes. It's the this is the truth and this is all I see. I'm looking at a wall, but when you start to notice and you start to step back, watch. You start to step back. You're like, wait a second. So you have to step back, and that's very challenging to step away from what you believe to already be truthful. It takes a humility of sorts, and it's tough, the mechanics of the brain. I mean, I don't know I'm not a neuroscientist or anything like that, but I get it, and it makes sense, and psychologically you have to be able to say, okay, alright, could it be true? Am I humble enough to step back and look at it objectively, and then look over it, to rise above it, to take the higher road, right? So both those, Operation Paperclip, Operation Mockingbird, were actually just, put into a documentary disclosing some other very dark things, very tough stuff to look at. And again, this is mostly factual, with a little bit of opinion behind it, but the facts are there. And I believe it's not having to force the dots to connect. You just have to look at them. They're already connected. The dots are already there. So I want to just point that out, and I would encourage you to go watch Out of Shadows. Alright, hey guys, so I think I got cut off. The thing I was talking about, shadow banning, the concept of that is just ridiculous. The infringement of the First Amendment, what the fuck? Oh, caught myself. Not perfect, I cursed a little bit. Let's get some more caffeine. Alright, last up, just want to touch on is artificial intelligence, and just a little bit about Bill Gates, Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk said in one of his interviews that if we don't take it seriously, over the next 10 years, 15 years, we could see a collapse in the human population. So he's for protecting the species, for protecting us. I used to think Bill Gates was legit when I was young and unaware, but now I realize after years of studying this, the New World Order agenda, as well as what's happening right now, absolutely insane. This guy is wild out of his head. And he's been planning this for years, man. Think if you're not aware, and all of a sudden you're aware of what's going on, you're like, oh, this is happening right now. There's levels to this. If this has been a plan for a long time, and we just become aware of it now, you gotta think, man, there could be a big war happening that we don't see. So Bill Gates wants to push his vaccinations. He's getting sued by multiple countries because of kids dying and becoming injured or disabled from his vaccinations. And we could say, just look at the logical aspect of this. Look, I'm not telling you what to think or do or say in terms of vaccinations, but let's look at this. If you have a vaccine, or if you have a flu or a virus, right? You have a virus, and this virus is damaging, it's killing people. Unfortunately, it happens if it's a real, not a man-made thing. There's another conspiracy under there. However, you take that virus and you put it in a vaccination, and then you put 70 other things in this vaccination, and you hit the person with it. Not only do you have the virus that's killing people in it, but 70 other things. I don't know, I'm not claiming to be an expert, but that does not seem logical at all. Zero for me, in my opinion. I mean, if you could support this outside with data and with information versus an opinion and an emotional based reaction off of this statement, go ahead. I'm more than welcome. I'll look at the details of whatever documents you have that are not biased, just completely evidence based. But as of right now, for a long time, it never made sense to me. And especially right now, with this push for ID 2020, with this push for vaccinations, he even said, he has some authoritative power or whatever. He himself said he does not see massive gatherings happening until there's a vaccination. Who gave him authority? When was he elected? Does he have a medical background? Where did he get his degree? I'm not making claims. People are saying, oh, someone shouldn't make a claim if they're not a doctor. Where did he get his PhD? He's a tech guy. And you look at the World Health Organization, who's the number 2 donor out of all donors. Bill Gates. Go look it up. Look, people are going to say what they're going to say. I'm open to criticism. I'm open to it, whatever. People want to share evidence, data. I'm more than happy to look at stuff. I'm so down with that. As my laptop is almost dead. I'm so open for it. Look, I'm open to communicate. Look, guys, the enemy is fear. The enemy comes to steal, destroy, deceive, divide. That's the devil, right? And his inner workings. If you don't believe that, that's fine, but that's what I believe. And it's so obvious when you look at it, whether you believe in God or not. What is the mainstream media doing? Dividing. They're saying it's Trump. People were inviting Trump to their parties before he decided to run, years before that. And now all of a sudden he decides to run 4 years ago, and now he's a problem. It's because of the mainstream. It's because there's an agenda. And respectfully and lovingly speaking, I pray and hope that people see this, because this is just wild. This is wild. And then you look at the innate combativeness behind being, in your head and not wanting to change what you think you know. And then, the blame is being pushed on, and there's this it's just crazy, man, the division, bro, like, what? Point is, go look at the stuff yourself, make a decision, don't have to make anything now, but we can't play like the mainstream is doing their job. We can't play that reporters are truthful. We can't play that game, and people are like, oh, I watch the news. But you see this, which is almost always out of context, because all of this is not covered. Fear and ignorance are weapons. They're weapons. The enemy. But hey, look. No enemy shall, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, because I have God in my heart. And I believe that, but I also believe in seeking wisdom, truth, and justice. Right? We can't let the darkness not have a light shone on it or shined on it, whatever. We have to shine a light, So I love you all. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna keep doing these videos. We'll see where I go with all this. I'm just gonna let it happen and see what's happening. All right. Love y'all. May God have grace over your day, your mind, and your heart.